From ripping on the Japanese for wiping out swaths of marine life, to ripping on BP for absolutely wrecking the ocean in the Gulf of Mexico.
As president of DP Oil, I want to say we're sorry.
South Park has never shied away from ripping whoever's causing havoc around the world a new one. Today, I'm going to take you through all the times creators Trey Parker and Matt Stone watched a major world crisis unfold in real time and said, yep, let's roast the ever-loving frick out of this. Starting with that Russian guy. When Russia invaded Ukraine 4 years ago, headlines around the world were screaming about a new war in Europe. So, a mere week after the invasion, South Park dropped its new episode aptly titled Back to the Cold War, and it opened with Mr. Mackey forcing the kids to run bomb drills because he thinks Russia might nuke the States.
The Russians are f***ing nuking us! Go! Under the bleachers, go! Come on, move!
It turns out, however, that Mackey is just traumatizing those kids because he himself misses growing up in the 80s, a time of synth-pop music, bad hair, and lots of nuclear strike drills. Which is why this episode has its own special second intro sequence.
South Park, back to the Cold War! And the comedy of Vladimir Putin.
Ah yes, the Russian stand-up comedian known as Vladimir Putin on a horse. The internet sure had fun with that image for a while. It makes sense then that the main plot of this episode revolves around Butters competing in dressage against a Russian kid.
Here comes the Russian now.
Boo! Boo, Russia! Boo! You piece of communist!
That's the fun thing about South Park. They'll roast Americans as much as they'll roast everyone else, which is why they're using Butters' parents here to mock people who love to yell things like commies and America, or Americans who are just straight up xenophobic.
I'm afraid we'll have to give your pony away to communists who slaughter ponies and donkeys to make skin cream. That's mostly the Chinese, but a commie's a commie.
Yep, that sounds like everyone's embarrassingly prejudiced, brainwashed aunt or uncle on Facebook. Meanwhile, Mr. Mackey is suffering from a severe case of 80s brain rot and paranoia, and he's convinced himself that there's a secret conspiracy going on to nuke the US during Butters' pony show. So he goes to his childhood home, sits down in his childhood bedroom, and kickstarts his dog-old DOS computer to do this.
It's not coming in on Wi-Fi. It's some old archaic technology.
X equals the Russians are nuking us.
Yep, apparently Mackey can just do that, and because nobody at that Defense Command Center knows how the outdated DOS program works, they can't stop it from activating DEFCON 3 and displaying the dressage on their monitor. All of this alerts the Russians, and we find out that apparently Putin is also having a bad case of nostalgia, just like Mackey. There he is, the Russian warmonger who's allergic to shirts, ironically dancing to an 80s anti-Cold War song. Putin ends up watching the dressage along with everyone else, only nothing weird happens. This pisses Mackey off, and he tries to escalate things to DEFCON 2, but luckily, Mom's there to stop him.
Are you okay? Of course I'm not okay, but you wouldn't understand because you're grown up.
No, ma'am, he most definitely is not. Mackey starts yelling at his mom like a petulant child, but Mama Mackey has the patience of a saint.
I want you to know you can talk to me about whatever you want, even if it's about being scared of getting old.
Whoa, Mama Mackey also has the wisdom of like 1,000 fracking Buddhas or something. This clearly lands with her son, and he opens up about longing for the good old days, even though the good old days were no better than today, and even back then, people were longing for the good old days because folks simply hate dealing with reality. Anyway, here comes Mama Mackey with her superpower of wiseness.
You're getting to be around 55. Your pee-pee doesn't work so good, does it? How'd you know about that, Mom?
Zinger! Take that, old men with broken ding-dongs who overcompensate by attacking other countries and doing some wars. We know the truth. And while Mama Mackey's helping her son snap out of his old man to Lulu, the dressage is about to take a real turn.
He's fighting for democracy. Go, Butters! Butters! Butters!
See, kids, the message here is that in order to protect democracy, the USA apparently needs to frick the Russians. Or their horses, or something like that. America. The gag ends with Mackey showing up and making it all about himself, saying how he's changed before directly addressing the Russians.
I know how it is when you're getting old, and you start getting aggressive because your doesn't work the way it used to.
Burn. Classic South Park. Next up, it's recession time in the episode of Margaritaville. For anyone who was still a baby back then, the Great Recession happened between 2007 and 2009 and affected the entire world. Financial institutions and even banks had to close down because no one could pay back the home loans that were dished out to them left and right and center. Which is exactly what South Park mocks at the beginning of this episode.
I got a $100 check from my grandma, and my dad said I need to put it in the bank so it can grow over the years.
We can put that check in a money market market mutual fund. Then we'll reinvest the earnings into foreign currency accounts with compounding interest, and it's gone.
Stan is super confused, but the bank guy doesn't give him any explanation whatsoever because they hardly ever do anyway. Instead, the kid watches as Mr. Bank does the same thing with a poor old lady.
Hey, I'm trying to teach my son the importance of savings. You already lost his money? Oh, Mr. Marsh, don't worry. We can just transfer money from your account into a portfolio with your son, and it's gone!
The world can really suck sometimes. Back home, Randy takes it upon himself to try and explain to Stan how the economy works and why there's no money all of a sudden.
See, there's a bunch of idiots out there who weren't happy with what they had. They wanted a bigger house and materialistic things that they didn't even need.
Yep, leave it to Randy and his margarita maker to be the perfect example of someone with zero self-awareness. But, you know, Randy represents the everyman of the show, so yeah, that's a roast on people who love to criticize others while being pretty dang guilty themselves, which is everybody. Of course, in times of hardship, everyone has an opinion, and in South Park, opinions tend to be yelled out loud in the streets instead of on Facebook.
And so why is our economy failing us? Because the government kept interest rates too low for too long.
The answer is obvious, my friends. It is the Jews, covetous Jews, who have taken all our money and hoarded it for themselves.
Frackin' Cartman, man. But there's always an anti-Semite somewhere, and many folks at the time did blame the Jews for the 2008 financial crisis. So we obviously know who Cartman represents. Other people like Randy have a different opinion.
You who bought that $300,000 house when you only had $20,000 to put down. It is time to stop pointing fingers, Steve.
Sure, you can argue that he makes some valid points, but must he be all messiah about it? Of course, the people start flocking toward him, listening to what he has to say, because the metaphor in South Park is all but subtle, and everyone always wants someone to save them.
Yea, it is an angry and unforgiving economy. To repent, we must stop frivolous spending.
Seriously, Randy is a walking human skin bag full of crap. While he's spewing absolute nonsense in his own self-righteous glorification, his son is trying to return that Margaritaville so they can, you know, eat and stuff. Only it's not that easy.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I'd like to give you a refund, but I'm afraid it's not doable.
What?
Well, an outside financing company handles those payment plans.
Stan suggests the man just give him the money that his dad put in for the machine, but the guy doesn't know how any of it works, and Stan ends up with the guys who's financed the Margaritaville purchase in the first place.
I want to return this Margaritaville, and the guy at Sur La Table said that you're the company that financed it.
Yeah, we can't give you your money back for that. Yeah, no. You'd have to talk to the people on Wall Street. Yeah.
Yep, that sounds about right. Mr. Puckerlips over here does the classic runaround and tells Stan that he should talk to the Wall Street people because no one ever wants to take responsibility when the chicken hits the fan.
Yeah, so the problem is your Margaritaville payment plan has been combined with thousands of others into one big Margaritaville security. Yeah, no.
And there it is, the get-rich-quick MO that was used by these finance companies to get Americans to buy stuff they couldn't afford, so a couple of guys could stock up on chapsticks or whatever. In case you hadn't noticed, this isn't about frozen beverage machines. So Stan goes to the New York Stock Exchange, where even more people are losing their minds and even more dumb revelations are being spilled.
You see, son, we lumped thousands of these Margaritaville installment plans together into Margaritaville-based securities.
Yeah, it really was as insane as all that back in the day.
Great, we can just put that into your retirement account and make it go to work for you, and it's gone.
The absolute definition of a clusterfrick. I'm doing our editor a favor by not actually cussing, guys. Mr. Wall Street ends up sending Stan off to the U.S. Treasury Department because apparently they understand how all this works.
How can we help you, young man?
I want to return this Margaritaville.
We just need to consult the chart. We can determine your property's value and we'll be done.
Does it, Mr. Treasury Guy? Does it? These suits tell Stan that they just have to consult some chart to determine the value of his property and the problem will be settled. Only said chart turns out to be another absolutely on-the-nose metaphor for how completely arbitrary the whole system ends up being.
Sirs, another insurance company is going under.
Now determining most prudent move for insurance company.
What in the actual hell? Then again, considering how the financial crisis was handled back in the day, this isn't that far off. I'm right there with you, buddy. It all ends with Kyle using a limitless American Express card to pay off each and every debt in the town of South Park so that the people can spend again. But of course, some people will never learn anything.
New Margaritaville. Just pour your favorite salsa in the top and it comes out the dispenser at the bottom. Oh, we need this.
Can't wait to see what South Park cooks up for the next inevitable financial crisis. Next up is the show roasting the first world attitude toward global poverty and hunger in the episode Starvin' Marvin. The episode starts with the kids watching their favorite cartoon, Terrence and Phillip, when the show is interrupted by this sponsored advert.
Here in the heart of Africa, children are dying. These children are in desperate need, and only you
Hey,
can
who's
help.
that fat chick?
Hey,
For just $5 a month, you can sponsor a child.
For anyone not sure, Sally Struthers is a real person. She's an actress who used to be an activist for impoverished children worldwide.
That's why we urgently need you to call Save the Children. It won't take much, $20 a month.
Ditto, lady. Anyway, the kids phone up the number on the ad to adopt, as Stan puts it, a starving Ethiopian because they want that sports watch. Only that's not what they end up getting.
That's not a digital sports watch.
This can only end badly. The kids decide to call the boy Starving Marvin and show him what American life is like, which apparently means stuffing your face with enough food to feed an entire starving village. Oh, and don't you worry, because it gets much, much worse.
No, Starving Marvin, that's my pet pet.
The kid barely gets a slice of pie, and Cartman even ends up eating the pie because, of course, he does, and no one does anything about it. Also, do none of the parents think it's weird that there's a little Ethiopian boy all of a sudden? Is that like a thing that just happens all the time? At school, Cartman continues denying Marvin food because Cartman's a demon child.
No, Starving Marvin, that's Kenny's cream cone. No, Starving Marvin is a bad Starving Marvin.
Luckily, Mr. Garrison steps in. The school phones the Red Cross to come and collect the child, only Marvin decides to enact his revenge.
We're looking for a starving African child who was accidentally sent here instead of a Takeo sports watch.
Hey, what's going on?
Well played, kid. Well played. Before I show you what happens to Cartman, the mayor has decided to do a big canned food drive for Thanksgiving to help the less fortunate. Only the way they want to distribute the food is terrible.
Well, Mayor, it's based on the cash grab. The cans of food are blown around inside the capsule. The Pav inside catches as many as he can to feed his family.
Golly goober, dude. Why don't you just tie the cans around a coyote's leg and have them try and snatch it? But yeah, the show is clearly roasting people who make a big show about their goodwill deeds while having no real respect for people who have less than them. So, about Cartman. Dude, take that, you little fricker. The demon child ends up feeling what it's like to not have a quarter pounder with cheese and fries every second hour of the day, which for a moment feels like true karma.
Oh, sweet. The Red Cross. I'll have fried chicken and a side of mashed potatoes, please.
Or what he probably calls his daily midnight snack. The Red Cross people tell Cartman that they ran out of food because they ran out of sponsors and funding, which if you think about it, is a weird thing to say to a fat little American kid who just asked you for some Kentucky Fried Chicken in the middle of a starving population. Alas, they leave Cartman behind again because no funding, and he ends up roaming the Ethiopian desert alone, asking God to forgive him for mocking poor people. That is, until he spots a building in the middle of nowhere.
I wonder what's in here.
Yep, that's Cartman's heaven right there. Well, it would be his heaven if he was alone.
Who the hell are you?
Give me that cake.
No, this is my cake.
Yes, Daddy, give me that cake.
Ah, yes, the greediness of the Western world. Parker and Stone tried to roast Western gluttony here, but they also went after Struthers because she wasn't the thinnest person herself, which is in bad taste for sure, but if you look at her character as simply a representation of American indulgence and overconsumption, the roast lands solidly. Back in South Park, those men in black looking dudes are back to pick up the real Marvin, and this time he's not fighting them because the kid would rather go back to his starving people than stay with all these ridiculous ones. In fact, Marvin comes up with the best idea to feed his people back home, even if it's just for a while. Good job, kid. Everyone knows no one in South Park, Colorado would have thought of that. Next up, we have the show tackling one of the greatest tragedies to ever occur in the United States and roasting said tragedy's main villain, as well as the U.S.'s response to said tragedy. I don't gotta remind you guys about what happened on September 11th, 2001. Everyone remembers, and we all remember what happened not even a month later.
On my orders, the United States military has begun strikes against al-Qaeda terrorist training camps and military installations of the Taliban regime in Afghanistan.
Another month later, South Park decided to create their own version of the 9/11 aftermath, turning it into both parody and later on, fantasy. It starts with the class being told that by order of President George W. Bush, every child in the U.S. should send $1 to a child in Afghanistan, which was in fact an actual thing that happened. But of course, Cartman has feelings about giving money to other people.
I'm not giving $1 to those towel heads. Oh, I'm sorry, but I thought we were at war with these...
We're at war with terrorists, not with Afghanistan. And the only reason you care is because you don't want to give up $1.
Too true, Wendy. However, that doesn't stop Cartman from making one ridiculous argument after another and sprinkling it with a good dose of racism because, man, did 9/11 open up those awful, awful floodgates. Meanwhile, in Afghanistan, we get to see what life is like for 4 Afghan kids who are mirror images of the South Park gang. This suckiness goes on, and you can't blame the kids for getting angrier or being dumbfounded when this eventually happens. Yeah, these kids have to evade bombs all day, but hey, here's a banknote with George Washington's face on it from the people that's blowing up your village. That'll surely make these kids love America. But these four were taught manners, so they send a return gift, which of course sends everyone in South Park into full-on panic mode.
Prelim shows negative, sir.
Then we're gonna have to blow it.
Yes, sir.
Open!
Matt.
Aw, it's just a cute little Afghan goat, nothing to be afraid of. What a nice gesture.
Hey there, little guy.
Stay away from it! Terrorists could have given that goat anthrax or smallpox before sending it over. Johnson! Sir! Check the goat for diseases.
Yes, sir.
Ah, come on! That is both unnecessary and unsanitary for the goat. Anyway, Weirdo over here clears the goat from whatever disease he was checking it for, and the boys can't decide who's taking the goat home because none of them wants it. So they decide to return to sender, but due to a series of unfortunate events, they get stuck on the plane and end up in Afghanistan themselves.
This is like East Denver. Jesus Christ.
Dude, no wonder terrorists come from places like this. If I grew up here, I'd be pissed off too.
The boys grab a taxi and make their way to their Afghan counterparts, only to find a broken down home with the door left standing. Things don't go down very well, what with Cartman insulting them and Stan giving them the little American flag there.
It was choking on the sweet air of freedom in America, so we brought it back to your crappy country. Oh, and here, take this American flag as a gift.
No argument there, kid. Stan and Kyle finally realize that they're not wanted here, but it's too late and they're captured and taken to the super secret hiding place of the notorious Osama bin Laden. Now, given that this episode came out just 2 months after the 9/11 attacks, Parker and Stone were still clearly feeling all the feels, which is why they made an absolute bonkers caricature out of bin Laden.
Ooh, ala mala mala mala.
Oh, crap. It's him.
Yep, they roasted him by making the man look like a fumbling idiot who's obsessed with making his scary little kidnapping home videos. Right. Anyway, the kidnapping video is broadcast to the world, prompting Stan's mom to do absolutely nothing because she's completely comatose by the 24-hour news cycle. The Afghan kids, however, respond differently.
They came to give us our goat back. Screw them! They're evil Americans! But if we don't help the innocent ones, then we are no better than the Americans are.
An excellent point, Afghanistan, and some other excellent points too. But before the kids can get to the cave, the US military beat them to it. Now remember, bin Laden was only found and killed a decade later, so none of this is based on that. The Afghan kids free the South Park kids, but Cartman is not done with bin Laden just yet.
What's up, Bin Laden?
Uh-oh,
5:30, time to pray.
Yep, what follows is Cartman driving bin Laden insane using classic Looney Tunes hijinks that are too numerous to show here due to copyright laws. I will, however, show you the conclusion to the sequence and the ultimate roast of the man who bombed America. This actually reminds me of a certain South Park episode that came out last year. You know the one. Anyway, so Cartman continues to Bugs Bunny bin Laden into oblivion, tricking him around every corner and making him look dumb and ridiculous until finally and literally toasting his butt.
All right, there we go. Let's roll cameras. Oh, and here's your microphone.
uh-oh. We've done it! The Taliban is destroyed!
The Americans rejoice as the Taliban is defeated and the kids go their merry way, hoping one day to either love or hate each other equally. The episode ends on a very patriotic note, cute because in reality, they wouldn't leave Afghanistan for another 20 years. But this wasn't the only time South Park brought up 9/11. Far from it. Back in 2006, they took on all those wild 9/11 conspiracy theories by roasting people who spent too much time on the internet thinking random numbers somehow meant that George Bush has a third nipple or whatever. In the episode Mystery of the Urinal Deuce, Mr. Mackey wants to know who took a dump in the boys' urinal. No one fesses up, but naturally Cartman has some thoughts on the matter.
Mr. Mackey, I think you might want to entertain that this is some kind of conspiracy, just like 9/11.
Says the guy who wants everyone to believe everything he says. Checkmate, you turd.
I heard that 9/11 was caused by President Bush.
Aha, you see?
Where did you hear that? From Eric.
As I do mine, but Cartman is hell-bent on getting Kyle to believe him, so he makes it his mission to finally fully uncover the truth. I don't know why I said it like that. Cue the montage of him doing his own research and singing about it in his head like he secretly wants to be in Glee Club.
I can't just blindly accept their version. I can't base my logic on proof.
The show might have gotten some things wrong over the years, but internet culture and the way it has warped people's minds truly is not one of them. So what was Eric Cartman's conclusion after all that head singing?
Remember that there are in fact 2 towers. 2 minus 1 is 1. 1, 1, 11.
Yeah, okay, Cartman, you know your 1s and 2s, get to the point.
Which leads us all to the mastermind of the 9/11 attacks. Kyle.
Frackin' dang it, Cartman, the little weasel then somehow connects his conclusion to whoever took a dump in the urinal using its wacky numerology method again, and then goes on to emphatically state that Kyle is both responsible for 9/11 and dropping a deuce in the urinal.
When I zoomed in, I saw what first appeared to be a blur. But when I computer enhanced it, you almost got away with it, you sneaky butthole.
This, of course, refers to long-debunked conspiracy theories that saw people around the world use images of the World Trade Center to try and prove that explosives were used to down certain parts of the towers. Cartman's reasoning is equally nuts, and yet some of the kids at school believe him, which makes Kyle's mom furious.
It is obvious our children are still completely confused about 9/11.
Yep, of course there are people in South Park who have fallen for some of these conspiracy theories.
Did you know there were explosions seen at the base of the towers?
The show really nails the point that it's one thing for kids to think such things, but for adults, it's just plain bonkers. Meanwhile, Kyle, who is also a child, learns that he's being watched by the FBI.
I've been doing a lot of research on the web, and I found an organization who says they can prove you weren't involved in 9/11. There's just one thing I need to know before we go. You weren't responsible for 9/11, right? Dude.
More people who claim to be able to prove stuff. Fantastic. Let's see what this guy has to say.
I know it seems crazy, but 9/11 was pulled off by our own government, so they could gain support for attacking the Middle East.
Yeah, we've heard this one before, shouted from every other corner on the internet. Anyway, obsessive conspiracy guy over here presents the boys with the supposed evidence, which turns out to be anthrax because the guy's a nutjob. Unfortunately for Kyle, it's also the exact moment the feds barge in to arrest them because, you know, the whole anthrax thing.
Mr. President, my name is...
Shut up! You think we don't know your name? We know everything. We've all worked very hard to keep our involvement in 9/11 a secret. But you just had to keep digging.
Wait, what? Someone phone M. Night Shyamalan because we have ourselves a plot twist. Bush says the government's been trying to keep it all a secret, but Truth Guy kept leaking it so the President of the United States blows his brains out. The entire scene is a masterclass in roasting because it goes after all those conspiracy fanboys and the stupid government by having Bush say that his administration was able to pull off the world's most intricate, flawlessly executed plan to ever exist.
All I had to do was have explosives planted in the base of the towers.
As if. The boys aren't buying Bush's story either, and he tries to take them out, but they manage to escape, only to find Truth Guy alive and well, and walking around as if his brains weren't just plastered all over the Oval Office.
You're alive?
The boys chase him down to confront his very alive ass, but what they learn just adds to the ever-growing confusion.
Please, please!
Dude, what the hell is going on?
Don't kill me! I just do what they say!
It isn't safe here, boys. Follow me!
Who the f*** are you?
Who the hell is this guy? Jeez Louise, what a frackin' crapshoot. We eventually learn that he's some kind of detective and also the father of the Hardy Boys, who are like the Hardy Boys, only for more sexual things. And they apparently solved the case of the conspiracy of the missing Twin Towers or whatever.
My boys were researching who went number 2 in the urinal at your school when they discovered something odd, which gave them a clue.
That clue led them to a 9/11 conspiracy group party, where they got a lot more clues. Those clues pointed out that all the 9/11 conspiracy theories could be disproven scientifically.
Just a quick note to let you guys know that the timestamp of the word scientifically in this episode is exactly 9/11. Okay, continue. I just thought that was cool.
That all the 9/11 conspiracy websites are run by the government. The 9/11 conspiracy is a government conspiracy.
Boom! Wait, what?
For government to have power, they must appear to have complete control.
Can I just say, this episode is wonderful. Baby Bush goes on about having to look all powerful because otherwise the American people would think that they can't control anything. A Republican implying the government irrelevancy would be the death of them. Oh, the sweet roasting burn of political irony.
Why don't you just tell people the truth?
We do that too, and most people believe the truth.
Why? Why? Well, let me tell you why. You can't see me right now, but I'm literally gesturing at absolutely everything around me because times just got stupider. Anyway, the scene ends with Stan double-crossing Kyle because it was in fact Stan who took a crap in the urinal.
Stan took the dump in the urinal and he contacted the conspiracy website? But so then who was responsible for 9/11?
What do you mean? A bunch of pissed off Muslims.
Yeah, what are you, retarded?
And thus the spreading of conspiracy theories ends forever. The end. Just kidding, because that wasn't the end, was it? We all know what happened in the real world after 9/11, which takes us to the episode where South Park roasted the United States for invading Iraq. The episode, I'm a Little Bit Country, kicks off with Mr. Garrison telling the kids that there would be a walkout that day for people opposing the war on Iraq. Easiest choice in the world. The boys muse that they should go and see a movie on their day off, but those plans are shattered when they're confronted with this.
No war! No war! No war!
So much for their day off. While the media wants to interview the kids and Cartman proves to be illiterate because he calls Bush a nazi, the pro-war patriots show up.
Hey, all you un-American bastards! If you don't like America, why don't you get out?
They argue back and forth about what the founding fathers would say because every American thinks that they know that, and the protest soon turns violent between the slogan people and the group who has a lot of members sporting orange hair for some reason. They eventually take their who's allowed to protest where squabble to City Hall, where things don't go any better.
Nobody wants to hear a bunch of twangy country music pro-war propaganda.
Well, nobody wants to hear a bunch of rock protest songs.
Man, these people sure have issues with each other's taste in music. Anyway, while they're deciding whose music is superior or whatever, the kids have to do papers on the country's founding fathers, and Cartman is determined to somehow travel back to the year 1776 and find out what those guys really would have thought about all this. And by time travel, I mean have a near-death experience.
When TiVo is full, both TiVo and I will be dropped into the water, combining our electro-whatever fields and sending me into a flashback of history. Or a really sweet one. Oh, here it goes.
Yeah, he just did that, but it also somehow worked out exactly as he predicted, and while everyone back home thinks he tried to kill himself, Cartman is back in 1776 and meeting Thomas Jefferson, who mistakes Cartman for the messenger boy.
Take this document to the Continental Congress.
Wow, the Declaration of Independence Day.
Cartman learns that back in the 18th century, the bickering about going to war was pretty much the same. That is, until he hears Ben Franklin's argument.
We cannot be a country that appears war-hungry and violent to the rest of the world.
Okay, I see what they're doing here.
We could go to war with whomever we wished, but at the same time act like we didn't want to.
Wow, that is some twisted ethical loophole right there, and a real burn on American morals, or whatever you want to call it, or as this guy who looks like John Voight with hair puts it,
an entire nation founded on saying one thing and doing another.
Cartman is satisfied with what he has heard. He travels back to the present, just in time to prevent his entire town from murdering each other with their awful taste in music. He relays what he's learned, and the people actually listen for some reason.
He's right. The strength of this country is the ability to do one thing and say another.
Aw, how sweet. They sure called out the hypocrisy, but apparently the moral of the story is that killing people abroad is just how things are supposed to be. Okay.
And if it weren't for you people flexing your arms, America could easily get taken over by terrorists or China.
I guess we owe you an apology.
I guess we owe you one.
Masterful roasting, South Park. Moving on now to the time when the show roasted both climate change deniers and, in a very brave move, also themselves. Back in season 10 in the year 2006, South Park did an episode called Man Bear Pig, where they tried to roast people who believe in climate change by comparing it to a fictional monster.
I'm here to educate you about the single biggest threat to our planet. I'm talking, of course, about Man Bear Pig. I'm cereal.
That right there is Al Gore, who says he's cereal about 1,000 times throughout this episode as Parker and Stone mock him endlessly for creating awareness about climate change. Yeah, just like an alarming amount of people, the two creators of South Park also didn't believe that climate change is a real threat back then.
You just used Man Bear Pig as a way to get attention for yourself because you're a loser!
Yeah, okay. So of course it turned out that climate change is in fact a very real thing and a very real threat to the entire world, leading to Parker and Stone doing a surprisingly mature thing, admitting they were wrong. 12 years after Man Bear Pig aired, they released an episode called Time to Get Cereal, and it starts like this.
Hey, looky here. Jesus, look at that. Looks like bear droppings.
It's Man Bear Pig. The abomination also attacks a kid at school, but Sergeant Yates doesn't believe it to be the work of nature's fiercest beast. No, he simply believes it's another school shooting because it's also just America for you.
Of course it's a school shooting. It's cut and dry. Let's just get this over with so I can go home. Where's the victim?
Over there.
Call me crazy, but that doesn't look like a school shooting. Stan knows exactly what it is because he saw the thing drag poor Ned to who knows where.
Keep looking. There's a lot of people saying they saw it, Kyle. It's not just me.
This is like a conspiracy website.
It's not a conspiracy, it's real.
Yep, no conspiracy. Climate change, Man Bear Pig is real, and it's coming for the town of South Park.
Dude, we were warned about this. That weirdo guy who came and told us this would happen, he was right.
And there it is, the first admission of being wrong. The kids decide to go and find Al Gore, who now goes by the name of Jimmy Turner, has a beard you can camp underneath, and is very passionate about bowling.
Al Gore?
That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
I don't know if you remember us, but we're the kids you got to help try and capture Man Bear Pig.
Stan tells Gore that Man Bear Pig is slowly wiping out their town, but Gore doesn't care because he's clearly carrying around a lot of anger and resentment.
But no one took me cereal. Well, now you can just deal with it yourselves.
Truer words have never been spoken. The kids keep imploring him to help them save South Park from the destruction of Man Bear Pig, but Gore needs something from them first.
We didn't realize there were
Say
more than...
you're sorry for making fun of me.
We're sorry for making fun of you.
That didn't sound serial at all.
Someone clearly doesn't get that coming from Cartman. That was a super serial apology. While Gore continues to not give a crap about anything other than bowling, the seriousness of Man Bear Pig is being debated inside of Red Lobster because humanity is stupid and we are all doomed.
There's no scientific proof, no real evidence of a Man Bear Pig.
He goes on to mansplain to Susan about how everyone has an agenda and, oh wow, it's Man Bear Pig.
So they throw around...
No, it's right there! It's right there behind you!
Okay, Man Bear Pig is real.
Some people just argue about it until they're literally bleeding from the head, but like Gore said, something should have been done a long time ago, so according to him, the only thing to do now is...
send him back to hell.
Honestly, anything's worth a shot at this point. What follows is some sort of pagan ritual involving a goat and some dead chickens.
We call upon the powers of darkness. Al Gore was right all along.
Al Gore was right all along.
We should have listened to Al Gore.
We should have all listened to Al Gore.
Wait, are you videoing us?
Okay, like they're clearly still mocking the guy, but at least not for saying climate change is real.
You need to stop wasting our time, dude. People are dying. Oh, God damn it, nothing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That one's going on the count too. So Al Gore summons Satan, and they all end up researching Man Bear Pig at the local library and learning why it's here in the first place.
What you're dealing with is a sifter of fate. It will always offer a deal in exchange for mercy, but the carnage will be 1,000 times worse when the debt comes due.
Yep, that pretty much seems to nail it. But before we can learn who in the town of South Park made this deal, the cops come to arrest the kids because Yates has convinced everyone that they're school shooters. Stan tries to reason with them, telling them the Man Bear Pig is real and that he's super duper serial.
All right, lock these little up.
Please, somebody made a deal with Man Bear Pig. We have to find out who.
Yet some folks just can't be reasoned with. Anyway, the arrest is broadcast, and we find out exactly who made that deal with Man Bear Pig in the episode's cliffhanger.
Billy, what have I done?
Yep, it was Grandpa Marsh and the old folks. But before we find out why, the next episode kicks off a South Park under full-on attack by the unstoppable force that is Man Bear Pig. And what do people do in the face of an imminent threat?
Pretty sure there's a Man Bear Pig, and I'm fairly certain that he's eaten 2 of my children and destroyed our home.
That's an excellent question. There's definitely evidence that all the death and destruction around us is due to a Man Bear Pig.
Oh, brother, humanity is frackin' cooked.
I think that the time to start worrying is coming. It looks like Satan is here. Should I start to worry?
And here comes Satan telling all these idiots to frackin' worry, but not even the Lord of Darkness seems to be able to convince them. Seriously, so frackin' cooked. Another case in point.
This one really doesn't look like a school shooting, sir. There's no such thing as a Man Bear Pig. You got that?
Mayday, mayday, we have another idiot here who sounds like my demented cousin Zuck's mug book. While Yates keeps competing for that coveted town idiot label, Stan visits his grandpa because according to Randy, Grandpa Marsh has been talking about Man Bear Pig for decades.
What did you do?
Oh, Billy, my grandson come to visit.
Cut the Grandpa. You people knew. You made a deal with that thing.
We thought we'd be dead by now.
Curse you, old lady who probably can't wipe her own butt anymore.
Why did you old people make a deal?
We had a right to be happy too, you know. We didn't want to give the demon his stuff back. All our cars. And premium boutique ice cream.
Those frackin' baby boomers selling the world for a pair of Hot Wheels and an endless supply of frozen sugar.
We were all young and foolish back then, Billy.
We didn't think about the future.
No, Stan, they did not. Grandpa Marsh even says that he never wanted kids and that Randy was an accident. He also elaborates on said accident by describing a wild experience with Stan's grandma that I will not be repeating here, but definitely involves some butt stuff. Anyway, boo to the irresponsible and selfish boomers, because not even Satan can prevent the wrath of whatever their actions have wrought. Holy guacamole. Mother Nature 1, ideological supernatural personification of evil 0. It seems to be the end of Satan, but he has some final words of wisdom to share with the boys before he goes wherever a guy like him goes when he dies.
If you can't stop Vampire Pig, how can we be?
You have to keep trying.
Yes, Stone and Parker, it would be pretty neat if people believed in humanity's ability to curb the destruction of climate change as much as they believe in a demonic creature with a tail and horns. Our man Stan finally knows what needs to be done, and it involves a different kind of hell.
Since this is a renegotiation, you agree that Man Bear Pig has right to compensation for termination, and you will give up all rights to specified assets.
Yes, we agree to give back cars and ice cream.
Got it, yes. Man Bear Pig has no interest in you giving up cars and ice cream.
Yes, that is simply not enough. For him to go away, the town must also give up soy sauce and Red Dead Redemption 2, the wildly popular 2018 game that even the town of South Park went gaga over and won't be giving up anytime soon.
All right, sign here and here that you are entering a renegotiation with Man Bear Pig, and sign here that Man Bear Pig has rights to the lives of all children in third world countries.
Okay, got it.
And you agree to ignore Man Bear Pig until he returns in 5 years, in which time the carnage will be 1,000-fold?
Remember, kids, small pleasures can come at huge costs. That, and one day your kids will blame you for everything too, because in the end you were no better than your parents were. Roasted. And I only say that because I'm the very same way. Now we come to the recent world crisis that made us all hermits who now know how to bake all kinds of bread. I am, of course, talking about COVID-19. During the pandemic, instead of producing their normal episodes, South Park gave us 2 pandemic specials that were longer episodes and months apart. The first is literally called the Pandemic Special, and it starts by addressing both the isolation and the mask-wearing issue right off the bat.
Hey, Dad, you think maybe we could go to Build-A-Bear today?
Butters, for the last time, you can't go to Build-A-Bears. And we do not go to non-essential businesses when it's non-essential.
What's that meme again about the worst guy actually making a good point? Meanwhile, the townsfolk are gathering in the town square because zero self-awareness Randy is yet again making everything about himself.
You know, we've all been through a lot these past several months. We've shut down and people have lost their businesses, lost their livelihoods. I also own a small business. I sell weed.
Golly goober, Randy, read the room. No, he's actually doing a PowerPoint presentation on how good he's doing during a global pandemic that saw a massive amount of businesses either struggling or closing down.
But I can't just stand here and gloat because Tegrity Weed is about giving back to people. Tegrity Weed is having a pandemic special.
How is this guy still tolerated? How is Sharon still married to this frackin' goober?
People are dying, Randy, and all you can think about is making a special about it?
I'm doing something positive to try and help.
Oh, I get it. They're talking about their own episode. How very self-aware. Anyway, Randy learns nothing as he later brags about making Target with his weed sales. Oh, and he apparently appointed himself the spokesperson for all the people who were disrespectful about the severity of the pandemic. Tell me you didn't hear anyone say this to you during the pandemic.
Do you even know anyone personally who's dying of COVID?
Yes, my brother Jimbo, who is in the hospital.
Jimbo's a fat alcoholic who'd be in the hospital anyway.
I wonder what would happen if he got sick. Anyway, just like in the real world, everyone in South Park is also wondering how the pandemic started, and it seems like they're close to tracing its origin.
Yes, we've been able to trace the virus and confirm that it did in fact come from a seedy part of China. And in fact, we've pinpointed the virus to a certain bat in Wuhan. A bat in Wuhan?
What follows is a flashback of Randy's recent trip to China where he was caught smuggling weed, smoking a blunt with Mickey Mouse, hanging out with the locals, and... Oh no.
I think that's a bat.
Yeah, it's a bat! Randy, you gotta try!
Rick, dude, that's worse than what Ozzy did. And yeah, that totally implies that Randy Marsh started the pandemic, so he phones up the mouse.
Look, we can't let scientists find that bat. If she finds out I started the pandemic, she's gonna be a bitch about it.
Still not getting the severity of it all. Maybe seeing what's actually happening all over town might knock some frackin' sense into the man. Is Randy finally realizing the gravity of the situation? Is he finally learning to have more empathy towards those around him? Has his eyes finally been opened to the horrors of... No, it hasn't.
We were able to break down the virus enough to see there was actually no bat involved.
No bat involved. It wasn't a bat in your face!
Leave him! Sharon, what are we doing? Okay, so it turns out it wasn't a bat. So what was it then?
It's a pangolin. And here it is, right over here.
Randy? Do you know what a pangolin is, Dad?
Oh no, here comes another Randy flashback. This time post-bat humping and Mickey being so impressed with Randy that he suggests they bone a pangolin next. And then, you know, Randy pipes a pangolin because you see, class, to have shame, one needs to have some self-awareness. And we've already established that Randy has none of that. Anyway, Randy somehow sneaks into the lab where they're keeping the pangolin and steals it, but it's not curbing his paranoia whatsoever.
Yes, you see, what we needed was the foreign DNA that was up inside the pangolin. Was our key to a cure.
Even his debaucherous pal Mickey is mad at him and wants him dead because the pandemic is bad for business. Naturally, Randy goes on to blame Mickey for all this until he miraculously has a brainwave, which, going by historic accounts, doesn't necessarily mean good.
The pandemic special. That's how we can get my DNA into people. We can vaccinate them without them even knowing.
This guy has as much respect for consent as he has for people dying from the virus. Speaking of, Sharon's brother's still in the hospital when an unexpected visitor shows up. What happens next is both too gross and disturbing to really share here, but let me just say, it involves a joint and Randy's, manly DNA.
Breathe. It's okay, breathe.
Oh, excuse me, I think I'm gonna puke. But lo and behold, it seems like it worked because Jimbo gets better and is released from the hospital. At what cost, I ask you? At what cost? Anyway, Randy proceeds to contaminate his entire supply of Tegrity weed to try and save the world, I mean his own butt, because the president sure isn't going to do that.
I made a promise to the American people to get rid of all the Mexicans.
Pandemic isn't just killing Mexicans.
It's killing a lot of them.
Here we go.
You're just going to sit there and not do anything.
I am going to actively not do anything.
This was, of course, roasting Trump in part for his love of deportations and also his horrible downplay and mismanagement of the COVID pandemic. This roast would have been funnier if it wasn't so morbidly accurate. Back at the marshes, it seems like there's something really wrong with Jimbo.
Jimbo's never been able to grow a mustache.
Oh my frick. Yeah, the first time I saw that genuinely got me, and it seems like this new mustache virus has gone viral.
We aren't sure why some people are getting a mustache and some aren't, but we have to do all we can to avoid it becoming fashionable.
This was, of course, the show spoofing the initial discoveries of all the various COVID symptoms, with a new symptom seemingly popping up every other month, which, you know, is how a brand new virus discovery usually works. But yeah, it's a funny joke.
We need to wear them over our mouths and nose. Citizens are asked to stay indoors and maybe enjoy some of the pandemic special.
Man, I'm getting so many horrible flashbacks right about now of people just being the worst. Anyway, this is South Park, which means it's only a matter of time before the adults start pummeling each other in the streets instead of, like, you know, in the real world where it happens on mobile screens. Meanwhile, Randy's trying to get rid of all of his product, but when he sees the pandemic has finally claimed his beloved Applebee's, he stops running.
Go ahead and do all the tests you want on it. You'll find out everything you need to know.
He did it. Randy actually did the right thing.
So what happens now?
Now we have hope. We've learned that we might never get back to our old lives, mate.
The next special was called South Park Vaccination Special, and it deals with the COVID vaccines. It starts with the people of South Park queuing up to get their COVID shots.
Oh, I feel silly. Will you just come on? You gotta loosen up, Mr. Adler.
The reason for this is that they're only taking people 55 years and older and first responders first, which is why Mr. Mackey's treating the whole thing like they're trying to get into a VIP lounge.
Oh, hey, we'd like to get in there and get some vaccinations, okay?
But absolutely no one gives a hoot to their educators, mirroring the real-life struggle teachers had during those times.
I sat on my computer 30 nights in a row trying to make a vaccination appointment. Look, the thing is, we are school faculty, okay? You gotta let us in.
Some weird arguments there, but okay. Security guy doesn't budge, and it seems like things are getting quite heated outside this vaccine center.
I'm a friend of Dan Roberts. He's a dental assistant in Conifer. Get the f*** out of here. I said you're not getting in. Oh, hello, ma'am. Right this way.
79!
You tell him, Grandma. Now over at South Park Elementary, Cartman and Kenny are afraid the pandemic and social distancing may ruin their broship, so they decide to be all juvenile and put ketchup on Miss Nelson's chair. Only...
Oh my God, teacher had her period!
Is this a prank?
That nasty teacher! Don't have your period during class time!
I come here and I risk my life to teach you?
Yeah, they triggered the poor woman into having a total meltdown. Kyle and Stan do not think their pals are being funny, but as always, Cartman doesn't give a crap about what they think.
You guys know how hard it's gonna be for them to find us a replacement teacher? They'll bring in some lame-ass teacher who's desperate to work. How bad can it be?
Pretty bad, Cartman, you idiot. Pretty bad.
Well, I know you've all had a lot of time off this past year.
Oh, dear Christ, what have we done?
Now I expect discipline and respect in this classroom.
No one is happy with the boys for bringing back Garrison, and it's not just the kids. No one in town is happy seeing their former president walking around as if he wasn't the worst president. No one except, of course, the whites.
I just want you to know I was always on your side. All of us whites were really on your side.
Oh, the whites. Garrison doesn't want to engage with them at all, but Mr. White clearly feels they're very entitled to get right up in his face.
What are we supposed to do to stop the vaccinations? We're on the internet every night waiting for word. The word is get a fucking life, Jack. Blow shit out your hole.
You tell him, Garrison. Also, yes, many of these conspiracy people did and still believe that the coronavirus was created so that rich people could use vaccines as an excuse to microchip the entire world. But just like the real world, Mr. White isn't put off by Garrison telling him to get a life. After all, he's a member of a far-right conspiracy theory group who believes that a cabal of Satan-loving elites control the world by eating babies on pizza. Or something like that. You can't reason with that level of irrationality, and Mr. White firmly believes that their great leader Garrison, is the chosen one, and that his words contain a hidden message.
Out your hole, Ano Yanis Domini Home. Do what he does.
DH could also stand for David Hasselhoff, but whatever.
The Chosen is teaching now. He's taking Q's message straight to the children, and he wants us to do the same.
Mayday, mayday, we got another Worms for Brains guy here. So their plan is basically coming down to teaching other people's kids how bad Tom Hanks and Oprah are so that people will stop wanting the vaccine. Make it make sense. Meanwhile, the boys need their good teachers back at school, but those teachers are dropping out one by one because they can't get the vaccine and are scared of contracting COVID on the job. So the Core 4 come up with a plan to get their hands on a bunch of COVID shots.
Yeah, we assist senior citizens who need the vaccine, but that need help getting to the right place.
Go on in.
That's actually pretty smart, and it works. Until they get inside, that is, because Gam Gam wants more money for pretending like she hasn't been vaccinated before, and Cartman is refusing to pay her another dang $1.
We're community kids. We help seniors get vaccinated.
Actually, I'm not sure. Might need a little more green back to jar my memory.
Oh, you f***ing
Cartman, just stick to the plan.
Oh, great, Kyle. Now he knows there's a plan. Kitty, grab the vaccines.
Oh!
Run! Go, 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 go!
Hey! Community kids have vaccines!
Not the smoothest of operations, but hey, it still worked. Once out of sight from the mob who all want a COVID shot themselves, Cartman reveals that he has other intentions.
We are giving these to the teachers at the school.
We can sell these things and go on vacations together.
Leave it to Cartman to want to exploit a nation dying. The kids bicker about what to do with the shots, causing a bigger rift in their friendship, but Kyle holds strong, and eventually the boys make their way to school to give their teachers their shots and to get Miss Nelson back. Only
Lil Cuties with a Q and an apostrophe after the L. You're not hurting our teacher again.
You don't even know what those vaccines are doing to people.
Aww. I mean, oh no, they brainwashed the kids. A whole gang of them. They even got Butters.
Butters? You're a part of this too? Well, I just wanted to believe in something that would get me out of the house. Well, I didn't give a what it was.
Oh my frick, it happened again. So a full-on fight breaks out between the kids, big enough to be broadcast on the news and further illustrate the division between the vaccine factions.
Kids are acting on something they believe in, and so are the little cuties, am I right? Like, what is the difference? Oh yeah, well, the difference, Tom, is that you're a giant piece of shit.
As the reporter curses the anchorman for being a frackin' idiot and what feels like the entirety of South Park pitching up to get a shot, the boys manage to escape, even though they have no way now of getting into the school and helping their teachers. Thinking they've been defeated and still bickering about what to do with the shots, the boys decide to rather break up their broship, but Kyle is determined to get the vaccine to their teachers, so he shows up at the school alone. Oh wait, hold on.
I'm not letting our broship fall to the pandy just yet.
And let's get those vaccines to the teachers. Let's do this.
Broship forever. The kids get ready to take on the town desperates and the town idiots, but they're interrupted by Garrison dragging Mr. White, who Parker and Stone turned into a giant dong across a snowy hill. Mr. Garrison tells the townsfolk that he owes them all an apology.
But through it all, Mr. White here has taught me a very important lesson. Make sure you're on the side of the people with the most power.
True, true. Dang it.
Do your thing. It's Air Israel with enough vaccines for every adult in town!
And that deal involves magically making an Air Israel airplane appear with enough vaccines for everyone in town. Yeah, Garrison making a deal with some powerful people. Some roasts are just too real. But hey, listen, if you like me and you have your clear favorite and non-favorite South Park characters, then I strongly advise you click on this video right here. You'll definitely have some opinions. As always, guys, thank you very much for watching.